So, my name is Madi Sadiq. I'm with CISCO Systems Pakistan. It's not CISCO network. Just one section. So, I'm going to briefly discuss some of the initiatives that CISCO has taken on the green front. Right? So, I really don't want to go into the details of it, but I'll just highlight some of the initiatives. Can you go to the slide? So, what are the factors that are really driving us to go green? We as a CISCO. Obviously, we are all concerned about the environmental aspect of things. But if you look at the other factors, you will see that there are worldwide energy regulatory mandates. So, different countries have certain regulations that are in place. Some are already in place, some are in the proposal stages. And if you look at the population, the red country, one are the one where the energy acts are already enacted, right? And the blue one are in the proposal stage. For example, I just want to mention Japan. They have recently passed an act whereby they are giving kind of energy kind of rating to the networking equipment, right? So besides being environmentally concerned, we obviously have to stick to those regulations if we really want to do business in these countries. So that's one aspect that I really wanted to highlight. So there are like other factors as well. So energy emission has a direct impact on the energy cost, and obviously the energy cost is directly associated with the operational expenditure of an organization, right? So the companies or the organization's bottom line is what has been driven by the operational expenditure. So we have seen lately that this green effect or the energy efficiency has been driving the customer buying behavior as well. So we, CISCO, being a commercial organization, so we are basically bothered about the commercial aspect of things as well. So we really want to give something to the customer which are really green because the customers are asking for it, right? So today I'm going to talk about three initiatives briefly. CISCO Data Center 3.0. So everyone has mentioned something about the data center and how much energy they are consuming. And I'll talk briefly about what we are doing on the data center front to reduce the emission of the carbon dioxide and to reduce the power consumption. I'll also touch briefly the energy-wise solutions that we have in CISCO. What energy-wise is, in fact, it started with a simple feature in the catalyst LAN switches. So CISCO was the one who basically started off powering up the IP phones from the Ethernet cable, the PoE, and it was standardized afterwards by IEEE. So the first standard was delivering 15 watts of power. Then, as the devices started coming up and required more power, CoE Plus was introduced by IEEE, which was giving 30 watts, was capable of delivering 30 watts to the devices which requires power from the Ethernet. So right now, CISCO is working with IEEE to standardize the next version of PoE, which will give 60 watt of power through the Ethernet cable. And with that much power, we are planning to basically power up the LCD and the monitors and the PC that you have. So rather than having power available at the desk, you can get the power from the Ethernet cable. Now, okay, everything is good. We have provided power to the desk, So what can we do with that, right? So with intelligence, you can control the usage of power. For example, if the device is not being used, you can put it in a sleep mode. So with intelligent policies, you can control the power, and I have a slide which explains how much energy you can save with energy-wise. And thirdly, what are we doing? Since we are one of the leading providers of networking devices, so how are we achieving the low power consumption of the devices themselves? So what are the things that we are doing on that scale? So there was a survey conducted by Upside Institute back in 2006, and they visited like 30 projects, 30 different data centers, various tier of data centers, and what they came out was really astonishing. 63% of the total building and operating cost of a data center was associated with power and cooling. Now this is very surprising. So if you can just bring down that cost, you will reduce your carbon emission, right? But how do you do that? So Achar has mentioned that how do you structure your data center, right? So you have to intelligently design your data center, but there are other things that CISCO also has advised in the data center 3.0 architecture. So what is a data center 3.0 architecture that CISCO has come up with? So if you look back, organizations realize that power and cooling of a data center is really expenditure that is driving their bottom line, right? So especially the organizations who are dependent on data centers themselves, right? Heavily dependent. So when they realized it, they started consolidating different data centers. So if I give you the example of CISCO themselves, we had around 14 data centers globally, right? So we consolidated them to 3 data centers. Right now, we are operating with 3 data centers. So they are big data centers. But that was the first wave in the consolidation of the data 3.0 architecture that started. Then, okay, we have less number of data centers. How do we further reduce or further make them free, right? So that was the second wave, which was the virtualization. So what was virtualization? So running multiple virtual machines on a single piece of hardware, right? With the help of VMware. So VMware was one of the partners in the data center 3.0 architecture of CISCO. So once you have that, so we are currently in the wave of cloud, right? So cloud is providing elasticity to the virtual machines. Okay, so you have a requirement for a specific application, you build a virtual machine, but then your requirement change, right? So you need more memory or you need more horsepower. So with cloud, you can do that. Cloud is elastic enough to extend the resources that you require in a virtual machine. So the more you virtualize and go towards the cloud model, the more power you are going to save within the data center, right? So CISCO energy-wise, what is it? So it started off with a simple feature in the CISCO LAN switches, but today what it is giving IT organizations is the ability to measure, report, and manage the power consumption, right? So you have, so this is an example that we have given. So this is a US study that was done internally by CISCO systems. So if you have a country-wide office with 10,000 PCs spread all across the country, and without any power management, the annual energy cost is going to be $770K. Okay, so this is not Pakistan tariff. the way things are moving, aren't you surprised to see this? I'm not surprised to see this figure in Pakistan. Okay, so if you use the CISCO energy-wise capability in the CISCO land switches and the CISCO energy-wise orchestrator, you can manage the nightly shutdown. So after working hours, all the PCs can be forced to reboot, forced to shut down, and that would nearly save 1/3 the power cost associated, right? Now with aggressive energy policies, like if the user is not around even during the working hours, and there is an inactivity timer, you can put it into sleep mode. And with that, you can save further 150K. So total savings will be around 50% in energy-wise. So there are customers in Pakistan, banks who are using that feature and who have deployed partly using that feature, not in its entire sense, but they have seen the value of it and they are using energy-wise to save the energy for the period. So the new high-end equipment that we are coming up, we at CISCO, CRS for the core routers, we have 9K. So these are the high-end routers, and since the customers are asking us to make them green, we have done certain innovations in these hardware as well, right? So the power supplies are modular. So rather than buying two big power supplies day one, you can go to a modular power system whereby you only buy a small breaks of power and add them as you need, right? So pay as you go. Not just it saves you on the bottom line, the capex, but also the energy associated, the energy saving that is associated. We have different features. We have green mode operations whereby these routers can save 10% of additional power for idle or non-use ports, right? So just like we have virtual VMware and virtual machines on servers, we have a virtual router concept in these routers as well. So in CRS1, we have SDR capability, secure remote routing, which is basically breaking down this router into two or more devices as per required, just to reduce down the number of hardware boxes you need and the power emissions. For data center, we have Nexus 7000 where we have virtual data centers, VDCs, we call them VDCs. So with VDCs, you can chop that box into 2 or 4 depending on your requirements. So these are some of the features that we are using in the new system. So what about the system that you have already, that you might already have in working in your environment? So with proper component upgrade, we can reduce 70%, up to 70% power consumption per gigabit. So I think it is difficult